and brown eyes, what is the percentage of you having brunette curly hair with brown eyes? So that's what they mean by inherited traits. How do you know what your child will look like? Well, the genes transfer from one generation to another generation, and they do, which we're going to learn in our next lesson, but they do what they do what they call a when they're trying to study genes, they do what they call a Punnett square. And we're going to talk about this in our next lesson. But I want you to understand what inherited traits are before we get into the Punnett square so you guys aren't confused. But they do what they call a Punnett square. And in the Punnett square, they take your dominant and recessive traits and they figure out what is the exact percentage of you actually coming out with your child, or you coming out with um, your brunette hair or curly hair and your brown eyes versus your blue eyes. And so we're going to get into that later. So the Gregor Mendel, he's known as the father of modern genetics. Well, how did he become known as the father of modern genetics? I thought you never asked. Well, he was first born in 1882. Let's go over a little history. Born in 1882 in Austria, not Australia, but Austria. So in over in Austria, he discovered basic principles of heredity. Heredity, again, you inherited from either your mom's side or your dad's side. So remember, you get 23 chromosomes from mom, you get 23 chromosomes from dad. That's how some of us look like mom, some of us look like dad, some of us inherit some things from mom, some of us inherit things from dad. Well, he discovered the basic principles of heredity through some experiments through a pea plant. Peas. Think of those round, those little green round things that most of us do not like to eat. I myself really don't like the green peas. I don't like them. They don't suit my taste buds at all. I don't like them. So what he did is um, he took those peas and I'm sorry. I was trying to get this on here so you can get your notes. Um, he took those peas and he saw how the characteristics of those peas would transfer from one to another. If you had a yellow pea versus a green pea, if it was round, if it was wrinkled, if it was yellow, whether it was green. So he did different experiments to see what percentage of those peas would that exact how many of those different peas would turn out exactly like the yellow ones, how many would exactly turn out like the green ones, how many would exactly turn out round, how many would turn out wrinkled. And so he did those experiments just to see how they would turn out the way they were. And so here it says a characteristic or features of one organisms that are inherited or passed from one parent or offspring to the other parent or offspring. So here's some examples that he gave. Freckles. Freckles. Some parents have freckles. Some parents do not have freckles. Eye color, hair color. Some parents have dimples. Some parents do not have dimples, but those are all different characteristics that can be passed down from one parent to another, or from one parent to their child, or not. In animals, the texture of the fur, the color of their eyes, the shape of their face. Those are different characteristics that can be passed down. Plants, the shape of the leaf, the shape of the leaf, the how tall the plant is, whether it's going to be a short plant or whether it's going to be a tall plant. It just depends on inherited traits. What color is the flower going to be? purple, white, red, yellow, orange. Those are all examples of inherited traits. If you look at the picture here, your teeth, your teeth. Will you have a gap? Will you not have a gap? Your toes. Will you have a tall second toe or a regular second toe? Can you roll your tongue or not? Look to your ears. Will you have a notch in your ear or no? Is your, they call it an attached lobe or not? Some people's lobe is attached, some people's earlobe is not attached. Is your little finger straight or crooked? Look at your hand. I bet you never noticed that. Is your little finger straight or is it bent? Have you ever noticed it? Those are all inherited traits. A willow's peak. If your hairline comes down like that to a V point, that's called a willow's peak. That's all inherited traits. Some people don't have, I don't have it. Do you have it? I don't have it. Mine doesn't come down like that. But some people have a willow's peak where their hairline comes down like that. Some people do not. Okay. So those are all inherited traits. Dominant traits. Dominant traits, those are the ones that are seen most. They overshadow the recessive ones. We'll talk about recessive in just a minute. But here it says traits that hide other traits when passed on to offspring. They're the stronger traits. They're stronger. It shows that specific trait, even if only one parent passed the gene to the other. So they're the stronger ones. So if one parent has dark hair and the other parent has light hair, if the dominant trait is dark hair, that's the color hair you're gonna have. If the dominant trait is light hair, that's the color hair you're gonna have. It says when a child inherits the dominant brown hair gene from dad, the child will have brown hair. If the child has, if both parents have dark hair, then obviously the child is going to have dark hair. But say one parent has curly hair and one parent has straight hair. If the curly hair is dominant and straight hair is not dominant, what we call recessive, then the child will have curly hair. Recessive traits, these are what are less dominant. These are the weaker traits. And so they are usually hidden. These are usually hidden. Now, if you have two recessive traits, then likelihood is, for instance, if you have two parents with blue eyes and they're both recessive, the likelihood is strong that the child will have blue eyes, but there's still a percentage that the child could have green eyes. So this is the example that they have here. But if you have one parent with green eyes, one parent with blue eyes, there's a 50-50% chance that the child will have either blue or green. So here's some examples right here. And so it says traits that get hidden by the dominant traits. It shows specific trait when both parents pass the gene to one child. And when a child inherits recessive blue-eyed gene from both parents, the child will have blue eyes. And so it just really depends. If one parent has brown eyes, one parent has blue eyes, there's a 50-50% chance that the child will have what? One blue eye, one brown eye. But what if the parent has one brown eye and one parent has, if one parent has brown eyes and one parent has green eyes? Here's your percentage of blue, brown, or green. I know, crazy, tricky, huh? Tricky. So recessive genes are the less dominant genes. These are the ones that are hidden by the dominant genes. Let me go back here. So if you have time, you'll stand up and do this quick inherited traits action. You're going to work with your table partner, and you're going to use this diagram. You're going to make a list for each of you, the dominant traits you have. So what you can see in yourself, Do you have a cleft chin? So do you have a chin that has a little, I don't know, like a little dimple or dent in it like this one? Or do you have a straight chin? Do you have a willow's peak or no? Do you have dimples or no? What color is your hair? Dark hair or blonde hair? Do you have freckles or no? What color are your eyes? Does your earlobe attach or no? Okay. And then think about, did you get this from mom or dad? Okay. So you're going to take about 10 minutes and do this little activity, and we're going to come back together. All right. How'd it go? What did you learn from that? What did you learn from that? I want you to write those in your journals. Write that in your journal. Take a few minutes and write that in your journal. What did you learn? What did you learn from that exercise? Take about 2 minutes and write that in your journal. What did you learn about that exercise? Take about 2 minutes and write in your journal what did you learn in that exercise. All right. We're back here. So how are traits passed? So when organisms reproduce, traits are passed from one parent to another. So when you are conceived, you get half of your traits from mom, you get half of your traits from dad. That's how it begins. Okay. Remember, your cells are the basic building blocks of all living things. Okay, that's where it's all starts. Cells, the basic building block of all living things. Your cells contain your body's hereditary material. All of your material starts when you are conceived. Everything is already there. All of your DNA, all of your makeup is already there once you're conceived. Right there, right in that nucleus. It's a small egg-shaped structure inside the cell, and it acts like the brain. It tells the cell what to do, okay? It tells the cell what to do. It has your chromosomes, all of your genes. It stores all of your DNA material, everything, whether you're gonna be tall, whether you're gonna be short, whether you're gonna be skinny, whether you're gonna be fluffy, whether you're gonna be curly hair, whether you're gonna have straight hair, whether you're gonna have brown eyes, whether you're gonna have blue eyes, whether you're gonna have straight teeth, whether you're gonna have um, a gap in your teeth, whether your earlobes are gonna attach, whether they're not gonna attach. It has everything already in there when you are conceived. Everything already, everything already. So who you are is who you are when you're conceived. Nothing you can do about it. That's it. That's right. Miss, I didn't even know. I know you didn't know. Now you do. You are who you are the day you're conceived. Learn something new, didn't you? Sure did. Taught you something, didn't I? Told you. Learn something new. These are chromosomes. If two X chromosomes come together, guess what? You're a little girl. Two X chromosomes, little girl. This is chromosomes, thread-like structures that are found in the nucleus of a cell. We all have a total of 46 chromosomes, 23 from daddy, 23 from mommy, 43 chromosomes. Two X chromosomes make a little girl. One X, one Y makes a little boy. That's how they can tell if you're a girl or a boy. Yep. That's how they know. That's how they know. Half of their chromosomes come from daddy, half of them come from mommy. 46 chromosomes total. 23 pairs, 46 total. That's you from the day you were conceived, okay? This here, the picture is a DNA strand. This carries all of your genetic instructions for all living organisms. DNA is short for deoxyribonucleic acid. DNA is short for deoxyribonucleic acid. It has the instructions that make each type of living creature unique. It determines how each of your cells will function in your body. How your cells will function in your body is by your DNA, your genetic makeup, how you're made up. Your DNA is how you're made up. I know, me or no? Your genes, these are your genes. So your genes determine your traits. Your genes determine your traits. And your genes also come in pairs. They also come in pairs. So here it says a stretch of DNA on a chromosome with instructions for one trait. Like chromosomes, they also come in pairs. Each parent has a copy or has two copies of each of their genes, and each parent passes along just one copy to make up the genes of the offspring. Okay? Each parent passes along just one copy to make up the genes of the offspring. Uh-oh, I'm sorry. It's time for me to go upstairs, but I'm gonna finish real fast. I'm gonna finish. Okay, so this is how it goes. The cell contains the nucleus contains the chromosome contains the DNA, and the DNA contains the gene. Let me say it again. The cell contains the nucleus contains the chromosomes contains the DNA, and the DNA contains the genes. That's how it goes. Cell to nucleus, cell to nucleus, nucleus to chromosome, chromosome to DNA, DNA to gene. That's how it goes. So our acquired traits. Acquired traits are not passed down. This is what we learn. Our acquired traits are not passed down. This is what we learn. We learn to ride a bike. We acquire to ride a bike. We learn to ride a skateboard. We acquire to ride a skateboard. We learn to play video games. We learn to shake hands. We learn to be polite. We learn to shoot a bow and arrow. Those are acquired traits, things that are learned. We learn at school. Those are acquired traits. Okay, they're not passed down from parent to parent. We get them from the environment. Their environment's influence on our life. Okay. Acquired traits. They're not passed down from generation to generation through our DNA. We may get them in our culture. We learn them from our mothers and fathers and grandparents. We learn them like that, but they're not passed down in our DNA. Okay. All right. So you have a DOL. You have a foldable that I need you to complete. And if you have any questions, please ask. Other than that, you guys have a great day, and I'll talk with you soon.